Hey there, Year 12. So example 13, now you're going to be using the Finance Solver to do the same thing. Now you can use Finance Solver to do reducing balanced loans in 9B, 9C, then also 9D, 9C, and essentially 9B. Then you can also do Finance Solver with annuity because it's the same idea except it's the reverse. You're getting money from the bank, but the bank also, they can calculate how much payments they need to give you depending on your conditions. So in this case here, let's have a look at the example. Joe invests $200,000 into an annuity and paying 5% compound interest per annum. So that's the rate they're getting back, and it's compounded monthly, right? So in part one, if he wishes to be paid monthly for 10 years, okay, so 10 years, 10 times 12 months, because there are 12 months in a year, how much will he receive each month? So we're trying to find PMT. Okay, we want to know what the payment will be every month, but we know that PV is that he's giving the bank $200,000. So this is different to your reducing balance loans because remember, normally when you borrow the bank gives you that money. So remember in the picture here, when the bank gives you money, it is positive. But when you give the bank money, it is negative because that's out of your pocket. You've lost that money. They're holding on to your money. So technically, here it should not be positive 200,000, but it should be negative 200,000 there. Okay, and interest rate I% is still 5% per annum. Okay, so let's get out our Financial Solver or Finance Solver menu 8.1. So Finance Solver. I'm just going to delete all of this from prior. Okay, cool. So let's go back. All right, so N, we know it's 10 times 12, so 10 years compounded every month, so 12 years. Sorry, 12 times the 12 months in a year, and so the number of compounds there will be after 10 years will be 120, or 10 times 12. 5% is our rate. PV, this is where you're going to be mindful, it's negative 200,000 because that's not money in your pocket anymore. You've given the bank that money and you want to work out the payment, but the future value, assuming that they pay everything back by 10 years, okay, so then that means the future value the bank owes you should be $0. Now, how many times does the bank pay you per year? It should be 12 payments per year, and therefore 12 interest payments per year, okay, compounded interest. So therefore, what I'm looking for right now is payment. So PMT, I'm going to press enter, and you can see there that it's positive $2,021.31. Why is it positive? Is because you are gaining that money. That's the money that's going back to you. Okay, so I'm going to put just down here so you can see. This is telling me that you're getting $2,121.31 every month. Bank pays to you. Okay, $2,021.31 every month. Now, the question is number 2. So that's answering the question: how much will he receive each month? Well, Joe will receive. I should write Joe instead of you. To Joe every month. And then part 2 now says, well, if he receives a regular payment of $3,000, well, that doesn't make sense. If he receives a regular monthly payment of $3,000, I'm guessing it says how long will the annuity last? Give your answer correct to the nearest month. So in this case here, very similarly, we are now saying, what if the payment instead of $2,000 was like, oh look, actually every month I prefer in the next 10 years I earn a bit more than $2,121 and I want $3,000. Okay, so I'm giving the bank $200,000, or Joe gives the bank $200,000 and saying, look, I don't want to earn $2,000 every month. That just seems very little. I want you to pay me $3,000 instead every month. Okay, so if that is the case at 5% rate per annum and then everything else is the same, I'm now going to calculate, so I'm going to go all the way up here. How long will it take? How long will it last? So will it still last me 10 years if I want $3,000 per month, right? Because obviously 10 years would mean that they will pay me $2,121, and that will last me 10 years. But if I want 3,000, likely it has to be less, right? So here we go. We're going to press enter. Whoops. Enter. And that tells me that I now have, instead of 120 payments, they're only going to do 78.26 payments. Does that make sense? Okay, so that tells me the number of payments they're going to give back to me, which is, remember, this is the 78 times, which is per month. So that's 78 months that I would last, right? So annuity, and they sound round to the, give to the nearest month. So yes, that is still 78 months. So here, this tells me that it's 78 months is how long it would last, the annuity. Okay, so instead of 120, which was 10 years, if you actually wanted to calculate what 78 months was, then you can just do 78 divided by 12, and that gives you 6.5 years instead. Okay, unlike 120 divided by 12, that gave you 10 years. Now you're reducing it down to about 6.5 years is how long you can survive on $3,000 every month if you gave the bank $200,000 plus whatever interest. It will last you 6.5 years. So if you think you're happy with 6.5 years earning at $3,000, then you're like, cool, I'll take that deal. But then number 3, what does it ask us to do? What interest rate correct to one decimal place would allow Joe to withdraw $2,500 each month for 10 years? Woo! So obviously what also determines how much you can take or how much you get or how much you can survive is based on the interest rate as well. So now they want you to calculate, in this case here, what would the interest rate be if you still want, I'm going to go back to my finance menu 8.1, that I still want 120 months. I still need that 10 years. Okay, so I got $200,000. It's still there. The bank holds $200,000, but I want $2,500 minimum. Okay, and it's still, everything is still the same, except I want to know what rate it could be. What if it wasn't 5%? This tells me which bank I should go look for. So it's going to be a competition. I go look around and say, all right, well, 5% seem like I'm not happy with after 10 years that every month they'll pay me $2,121.31. I want $2,500, right? So I need to go scope around from different banks to see what kind of interest rate they can give me. So this bank gives me 5%. Is there another place that can give me, I just noticed I missed out percent there. Is there another place that can give me a certain amount that I can guarantee I will get $2,500 back from the bank and it will still last over 10 years, okay? So this is where your finance calculator can happen. You press enter, assuming everything else is correct. I press enter, whoops, not over here on my calculator. I press enter, and that tells me here that it's 8.6%. Okay, I need to go and look for a bank that offers this rate of 8 what do they want? Interest rate correct to one decimal place. Okay, so 8.7% per annum is the rate I'm looking for. If I can find a bank, that offers 8.7% per annum, then I know that I will be able to give them $200,000 and earn $2,500 every month with interest, and I'll survive for 120 months, which is 10 years, if they can give me this rate. But obviously, why would the bank do that? Unless they can figure out that it's in their own interest. So some banks may, some banks won't, but that's the point. That's how you use Finance Solver to figure out your annuities. And remember, it's just different to reducing balance loans. On the idea is that instead of you owing the bank owes you now. But there's obviously still a trade and a deal to work with there. So that's what the interest rate would have to be. It has to be 8.7% per annum to make monthly withdrawals, or at least to get $2,500 for 10 years. Okay, so I hope that clarifies what annuities are. If you haven't watched the other examples, please watch example 11, 12, and 13. They're all tied together to help you understand what annuities really mean. Okay?